Hello, beautiful people. It's Gwendolyn here from your virtual admin expert, and welcome to Leading Behind the Scene, your weekly dose of inspiration to equip you to excel in business and life. Before we jump into the episode, I want to share with you that enrollment is open for the Mastering Your Success Mastermind for women CEOs. The Mastering Your Success Mastermind is for women entrepreneurs who have been in business less than 5 years, who are looking for clarity around their next steps to crush their goals, tools and strategies on how to systematically grow their business, accountability to keep them from procrastinating to death, opportunities to brainstorm with not one but two seasoned coaches, time to work on implementation and execution, and a tribe of like-minded women willing to share their wisdom, expertise, and experience. This small group mastermind and implementation incubator was created for women just like you. So I encourage you to go to masteringyoursuccessmastermind.com and get your application in for consideration. So this month, we have been talking about how entrepreneurship and wellness connect. We have had some great gems dropped by us from Coach Fanny of Create Your World. And then last week, Coach Iris from ITL Fitness. If you missed those segments, be sure to go back and watch those either on my Facebook business page or on my YouTube channel. But today we are continuing the conversation, but we are going to be talking about being an entrepreneur with a chronic illness and how important wellness is to that journey. And so in talking with one of my clients who has turned friend, she was so excited to have this conversation because she doesn't believe that it gets talked about enough. So I am chatting with Melanie Hall, who's fast becoming one of my favorite people, y'all. I just love Melanie. And as a licensed clinical professional counselor, Melanie is ready to jump in and help you identify patterns in your life that may be holding you back. She is there to help you work through challenges in a safe environment so that you can thrive organically. If you've got big dreams of living a happy, purpose-filled life, Melanie knows that it is possible. She knows how it feels to struggle with identifying your purpose while juggling the various roles we play in our lives. And so together, she wants to help you create the results-oriented game plan to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. She is a certified anger management specialist. She has completed training for domestic violence abusers and victims, and earned a Master of Arts in Clinical Mental Health Counseling. Melanie is all the things, y'all. She is like all the things amazing. And we just love her. And so, Melanie, let's just talk, girl. Say hi to the people.
Hello, people. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here.
So me and you, we're always talking and always texting about the struggles of living with a chronic illness, right?
Yes.
And I know that this is a conversation that you have been wanting to have for some time. Yeah. So let's just talk about what is it like having a chronic illness and being an entrepreneur?
It is like managing a house of cards where at any moment you feel it can be blown away, but you just have to secure it differently than some other people may secure theirs.
Oh, I love
That's
that.
what it's like.
So walk us through a day where you might have a flare. And first tell the people, because I know. So first tell the people your story about what your chronic illness is and how that all came to be.
Well, I have been diagnosed with actually two. One is not as well known as the other. So I have lupus, systemic lupus, meaning that it impacts the organs and can also impact your skin, right? I also have what's called Sjogren's syndrome, and that is where your eyes, your nose, joints can dry out, essentially. You can have dry hair, dry scalp and dry skin and the dry mouth. So you're constantly trying to moisturize these things or keep them lubricated as much as possible. Exactly. Have my water as well.
We stay with the water bottle.
I also have fibromyalgia, and what happened was years and years ago, almost 20 years now, a doctor thought I might have that because I was 30 years old being diagnosed with arthritis. And he thought it was kind of early for that type of diagnosis. And so he thought maybe we should look into lupus and sent me to a rheumatologist at the old Michael Reese. And this particular doctor didn't take it seriously. He was a rheumatologist, but he looked at me and said, well, I don't see a rash, so it can't be that. Yes, and told me it must be fibromyalgia, and pretty much sent me home. I had already been to a neurologist at that point because I was just having different symptoms. And the neurologist said, well, I can run a battery of tests. However, it's going to be really expensive. So at that point I said, we're done. I'm feeling a little better anyway, so we'll just let it go and speed up to 2015. And I'll make this short. I had a very high fever. My heart rate was low. My heart rate was high. My blood pressure was low. And I had a high white blood cell count. So I was put in the hospital for a week with sepsis. And they have no idea where the infection came from. But it turns out they ran a lupus panel and I was positive. So I was also positive for the Sjögren's disease. So it can be very difficult to even get the diagnosis of an autoimmune disease in the first place because the symptoms always mimic something else. So unless you have a doctor that's willing to look at that specifically, you may not get that diagnosis for quite some time. But some of the things that I have to do for myself is, getting up in the morning. I can't just bolt out of bed like everybody else, right? You have to start, moving your joints and things like that. And you're almost doing a whole body assessment before you get up. Like, is my temperature right? Do I have a headache? And how do my eyes feel? And how does my back feel? And, mine manifests a lot with joint pain. And I know you have had some other things going. So it can look the same and it can look very different depending on the day. Yep. But there's always this self-check, before I even do a mental check, I have to do the physical check first, because if I'm in a flare, mentally it's going to throw me off.
That is so true. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, because I think for us, that has just become a norm. Like when you wake up, like it ain't no just jump out the bed, like you said. Like I'm first doing a leg lift to make sure like these muscles ain't gonna give out when this foot hit the floor. Exactly. Like I gotta bend my knees to make sure my back is all right. And I done got rid of that pain. Like it's like this whole, like you said, assessment you gotta do before. And not to mention just energy level wise, right? Like it takes a long time to get up and going. That's why I'm like, in the mornings, like it's going to take me an hour at least before I can even start moving. So it's like, I got to build in that time before I even can start getting ready for the day. Cause I might just sit on the edge of the bed for 30 minutes.
Exactly. And some of that is just telling your body, we have something we have to do.
Yep. We
have to get up and get this going. Okay. So I feel like this now, so maybe I won't do this part so that I can do this other part. It's almost like this everyday new negotiation that has to occur just so we can get done what we have to get done. Like we have to plan very differently than other people. So if we know we have a very full day, 24 to 48 hours prior to, I'm probably very low key because I have to preserve whatever I have to use on that day.
And people don't get it, because it's like, you said you were coming, you said you felt, and it's like, well, when I said that, that's what I meant. Like I truly believed and felt that. So it's like for me now, and that was a learning thing, right? Because, I went from a person that was like, okay, weekends was always packed, the week working a job, like all the things, 3 kids, football games, wrestling, like all the things, right? And then it went from, you want me to do something on Saturday? That means I can't have nothing on Friday or Sunday. right?
Exactly.
Because I got to
Exactly.
preserve my energy on Friday. So I'm going to be okay to attend on Saturday. And Sunday, I know I'm going to be completely out of the count from whatever I did on Saturday.
And when you're an entrepreneur and you're always in demand for whatever reason,
Yes.
I may not be able to show up like I want to because
Yes.
people, I think, assume you don't want to show up. No, it's a case of I have to constantly do this negotiation, like I said, with my calendar, with my friends, with my body, with
Yes.
my gut, with medication. There's this constant negotiation or this review that has to take place on what I will have to do when. And so it's not that I don't want to show up. It's not that I don't care. I apologize for the late cancellations, but they're not always seen as sincere. So it can
Right.
definitely impact those friendships and work relationships.
Yeah. So true. So true. And that is why we have to build businesses that really work with the totality of who we are, right?
Yeah.
Like when I'm looking to work with a client, I am also not just looking at, okay, what they do. Like, I want to make sure your vision fits. I can get behind your vision. Like, you really have something I can support you in. But I'm also looking at, like, will you extend me some grace if I have a day where
Mhm.
like I just really can't be at this meeting, which is why, I always push for, can we schedule it? I live by the calendar because I'm like, can we schedule it in advance? So we have to do things
Right.
differently. Like impromptu meetings for me just don't work. And
Right.
so when I would have clients that would be like, can we? And I would be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not that I'm like being rude or mean or being
Not trying to be
inflexible is the word that I
unreasonable.
heard before was inflexible. It was
Oh,
like,
wow.
that just doesn't work for
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
so, all my clients now, like you guys are amazing. Like we have a scheduled time to meet. If that needs to change, like I'm all for like, can we do it in advance? But when it's like that, like now I've set myself up for success, right?
Right.
I know I got a 4 o'clock meeting every week with a client. So guess what? Don't put nothing on my schedule between 2 and 4 because
Between
I'm
two
gonna
and
need
four.
all that energy for 4 o'clock. Like
Exactly.
we got a
Because
system going.
our breaks are critical to
Yes,
us moving to the next thing. So if
yes.
there's no scheduled break, and sometimes we have to, even check in with one another and say,
You do. Did you eat?
we weren't supposed to be doing anything at this time. And it's like we send each other the emoji of like, "Ooh, yeah, I know."
I
Because
tried.
right, because we know it may not serve us well later.
Yes, yes. And I think that's a huge part too. Like when you are running a business, you have a chronic illness, you need that support person.
Mhm.
And part of your support team has to be somebody else that understands it. They've either gone through it,
Mhm.
they're in it with you, like they beat it, like something so that they can understand and they can kind of keep you like you said in check and on focus. Just be like,
Mhm.
did you eat? Like, and it was another one of my clients too. She was like, Kyla was like, I'm gonna need you to have lunch breaks on your schedule next year. I was like,
And you even extended that
I was
toward
like, yeah,
me, right?
yes.
You
I was
told
like, we gotta schedule lunch breaks
me
now.
schedule lunch breaks and schedule the days off and schedule the rest time. And how much time do you need in between sessions?
Yes,
I've been very honest when I meet my clients. I let them know that I have an autoimmune disease, not because I want sympathy, but
right,
because I may need your understanding at one point in time when I cannot show up that day
yeah,
for sessions, because it's not only impacting them, right? It's impacting other clients, it's
yeah,
impacting my family, it's impacting me, but I'm very upfront about I give them grace when they have to cancel, so I want the same
yeah,
thing,
yeah,
right? Because life happens to us all. And I always make that speech, life happens to us all. So just respect my time because I'm going to even tell you, I have the sniffles. I don't know if it's a cold, the flu, or what it is. And nowadays we have COVID. I want you to extend the same thing to me because I'm going to tell you, you may not want to show up in that room with me when I have an
right,
unknown virus, right?
right.
So please extend me the same thing. So we have to share things sometimes with people that other people may not share because it's
Absolutely.
part of our self-care.
And we have to be even more intentional about even enforcing the boundaries, right? Like, I need you to understand this, because when I say you can't come in my office without your mask on, like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Not because I'm being mean or whatever. It's because a regular cold ain't a regular cold for me.
Not a regular cold.
So me catching a cold and you catching a cold are completely two totally different things.
Yeah.
And so it's for protection. I need you to
Exactly.
just be like, that's what she needs. That's what I'm gonna need you to do.
She's not
Okay.
avoiding me. She's not denying me of something,
Yes.
and a lot of times we have to do a lot of pre-work
Yes.
before we do the actual work, because I may not be able to shift and adjust as quickly as other people.
Right.
And what if I'm in the middle of something? I need something to happen, minimally at best from bed,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So I need to be able to make things transferable easily, because life can throw me a curveball, because we can literally wake up, went to bed, no problem,
Perfectly fine.
wake up, and then there's something that has,
And
we're
it's
in a
like,
total crisis, and that we didn't expect it, we didn't invite it. We're often reviewing, what did I do? I must have done something, and it's
right,
just
we
our
going
body.
back to the whole
Or
week,
the
like,
whole week. When a week back, like, well, then I did eat such and such. Well, no, that wouldn't do it. There's this constant conversation in our minds about the body, mind, and spirit
yep,
connection,
yep,
because we have to take care of ourselves very differently than other
yes,
people.
yes. So now, even in spite of all this, right? Like,
Yep.
and we both have really big faith, which is what I love. You've had an opportunity to build a very thriving business and
Yeah.
practice. Like,
Yeah.
you're even in the middle of expansion. So to the entrepreneurs who have chronic illnesses, who think
Yep.
that they can't thrive or grow their businesses, like,
Yeah.
what would you say to them, and what are some of the things that you've done to help you do that?
Well, that was part of the self-care, was
Mm,
creating my own job. Because prior to going out on my own, I was out in the community seeing people who were ill, doing patient education.
wow.
And I was becoming more and more nervous of being at risk. So, me creating my own business, opening my own practice, was part of me saying, I have to create a schedule that works for me. I have to be careful of who I meet with, right? Meaning, what are some people coming in with? Because I can't take on too much, so I have to be careful what I take
Yeah.
on mentally. What also, some people come with extra paperwork, right? So I may avoid some things like that, because I can't take on all that paperwork, because it's going to increase my stress. So
Mhm.
me having to manage my stress meant, if I can go into business for myself, create a schedule for myself closer to home, right?
Mhm.
Where I can stop and get things that I need. I even put a couch in my office so that I can take naps when I need to, or just simply lay down, just
Mhm.
get out of the chair at that 90-degree angle, right? And just actually lean back. It does wonders for me to help me replenish throughout the day. I
Yeah.
would encourage anyone with an autoimmune disease to definitely look into entrepreneurship, because it helps you create your self-care around your employment,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah. That is so true. And that's so good, because like, I didn't even have a desire to get into this whole entrepreneurship game, right? Like, people, when I say that, they're always like,
So
what?
how
I'm
did you
like, yeah.
land there?
I'm like, this was not my thing, y'all. Like, this is the
Right.
furthest thing from my mind. Like, I was happy in my corporate job. Like, let's be clear. I wasn't looking to leave corporate America. Like, I had a job I could do with my eyes closed. Like
Mm,
I was in a prime, as they say, a prime real estate spot. Like, I was good. And so, but one of the things that I knew when I was going through recovery, like after I got the diagnosis and going through recovery, like, I knew I wasn't going to be able to go back, at least not on my terms, not
yeah,
on the terms that were going to work for me, because I
right.
was like, first of all, I'm gonna be a little irritated when I gotta keep asking for days off to go see the specialist, because I gotta go see the
Exactly.
rheumatologist at least once or twice a month, right? Like, then what happens on the days when I need to take a nap?
Yep. Or
And
just,
you know,
I need extra time in the morning, or
to get
after
there.
lunch, I thought I was okay. I was fine at lunch. And then the rest of the day is like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it home.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I can't, like, I'm like, that bureaucracy is not going to work for me. It's
Right.
going to just add to my stress, because I'm
Yep.
going to be worried about trying to keep my job. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
With this whole thing. And like, it ain't everybody's business what's happening with me. I don't want to have to be
That's true.
explaining to y'all all the time when I need a nap. Like, I need
Yep.
a damn nap.
Right. Isn't that like a normal thing, right? But
Right.
not in someone else's business.
Yes. So I
And
was
so
like,
you
I
create
knew
your own.
then, I was like, Lord, what am I going to do? Because that is not going to work for me. And
Yeah.
so clearly, like, I heard it so clearly, like, it's in your hands. And I'm like, well, what is that? And
Mm.
that's when I realized, like, just started doing some research. And I'm like, people been working from home for like decades. Like, why didn't nobody tell me?
Yes. Yes.
Like,
Decade.
why didn't nobody tell me this was a thing?
Mhm, mhm.
How did I
And yet
not know?
you do feel like it's something that is dreamt about,
Yes,
but not something that can be a reality for you.
yes,
And
yes,
that's being we come into it a little short-sighted, right? Because then it becomes, well, what am I supposed to do for money? But what about days off? Well,
yep,
what about
yep,
paid time off? Well, what about this and what about that? And if you have the right people around you, you will find that there's a way to do everything, and
yes.
people have been doing it for decades.
Yes. And that is why I always stress, like, you be talking about something, I'll be like, man, you know,
Mhm,
it's a shortcut for that. Like, we don't gotta work that hard.
mhm.
I was like,
And as an entrepreneur, you have to be very mindful of when it's time to outsource some things. And
yeah,
you were
that's true.
you were a critical part of me making that change, because I was trying to do it all. And that was wearing me down,
Yeah.
and it was wearing my immune system down. When you already take medication that is breaking down your
Down
immune
your system
system,
anyway.
now you have external factors that are, for the most part, self-imposed.
Yeah.
That's going to weigh your immune system down. And so now here you are, susceptible to illness, when, had you outsourced some things, it would have created more time for you where you can actually get adequate rest.
Yes.
Sleep is the one thing that I protect. I had to find the thing, what seems to impact me the most, and sleep was it for me. That was like, I can take the medication, and I can take all the turmeric and the ginger and all those things, but if I wasn't getting adequate rest, that was killing everything. So I literally protect my sleep between the hours of 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. There is a do not disturb,
You like
truly.
the world could fall
The
apart.
world
And
can,
I find out about it at 7:01.
I will find out about it when I wake up.
And that is so true, because insomnia for me was, and still
Oh,
is sometimes, like a huge, like, that's been my biggest thing.
yep,
Like, even when I'm like, my body is like dog tired,
sit it
I
down.
just can't rest. It's like,
And it's
ugh.
almost like you feel like you've taken some medicine when you actually have not, but it's your body. Your mind is saying, we have this to do. Your body is saying, no, we have nothing to give. And your mind and your body is going back and forth, and typically the body wins, because
Yes.
nothing comes of it.
Yes, that is so true. And that was a critical part too for me. Like you said, you getting support, but then I had to get support too. I was like, you gonna need to follow that same advice
Mhm.
that you give your clients,
Yes.
and plus I'm always thinking about, like, how do we make the client experience even better, right? Like, how do I make sure I can support them and serve them, even if I'm having a bad day, right?
Yeah.
Like, still things can still get done. And so I was like, okay, it's time for me to really start thinking about that agency model and getting my own support team, which has been like a game changer for
Yeah.
me, just not even just personally, but just for my business. And so I'm so excited about that. So for those of you who have thought that maybe entrepreneurship wasn't in the cards for you because you have a chronic illness, hopefully you can see just from the two of us that it's possible, and it's possible to build a thriving business with a chronic illness and build a business that you actually love and that supports your life so you can take care of yourself. So definitely I encourage you to do that. So what do you want to say? What do you want to share before we go? What is like one thing you would say to the chronic entrepreneur, I guess?
Yeah. Don't be afraid or nervous or hesitant to make yourself a priority. Like I said, yes, we have to take care of our bodies a little differently, but you also got to, identify where's my mindset. Is my mindset where I'm always chasing something? Is my mindset where, I have I'm not sure if I can do it attitude? When you are suffering with a chronic disease, time is of the essence. And sometimes we have to seize that moment because we don't know when, a crisis is coming. But if you are able to even think about that business, then you're likely able to do the business because it's not going to be put on you for nothing, right? So I say do it. I say try it. I would rather try it and it not work out than believe that I can't do it, right?
Yeah.
And go to my death not even trying it. That is just not negotiable for me.
That's
Because
good.
I believe that with my mindset saying, well, we can do it, we just have to do it differently, says go, right?
Yeah.
Jump,
I
just
love
try
that.
it.
I love that. And to add to that, I would say just like be relentless in that you won't allow a disease to dictate how you live, right? Like you're not going
Right.
to allow illness to dictate how you're going to live. Like, will you have to make some adjustments? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But I kept that whole thing was like, you could say I have lupus, but lupus ain't gonna have me. I'm just saying,
Exactly.
like, give
Exactly.
me some good days and the girl finna knock it out the park. Okay. Like we might have some battles and like lupus may win on some days where like you be like stuck with the IVs and stuff in your arm and in the hospital bed for about 3 days. But I'll be like, wait till I get up though. Wait till I get up though. When I get back, I'm gonna
Asking the
show
doctor
you.
about their medicine. So is this going to make me sleepy?
Yeah,
I
right.
need to know, like, what else will this do? Because I may not be able to just sit and do things like everybody.
Right.
I might say, I'll be right back. Just hold
But
that
when I
thought.
get back though, but when I get back.
Exactly.
But it is totally possible.
Yeah.
Go for it. Make sure you have the right support community. Make sure you build it around what works for you. Like Melanie said, the schedule that you need. Like,
Yeah.
make sure you do that. Make sure you use tools and systems to help you make it easier and get the right people that you can outsource to help you as well. So it is definitely possible. Melanie, thank you so much for being willing to have this conversation.
This
I
is awesome.
so appreciate you. Beautiful people, thank you so much for joining us. Keep making wellness a priority in your life. Notice I said wellness. I didn't say just fitness, wellness, okay? A priority in your life. And I would love it if you would hit like, hit share, tell everybody, anybody that you know needs to hear this message, let them know. If you have any questions, tips, or experiences you want to share, put them in the comments. We love engaging with you. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Your Admin Expert, and subscribe to the email list on my website at yourvirtualadminexpert.com. Melanie, tell the beautiful people how they can connect with you.
Well, I am located in Homewood, Illinois. You can reach me on my website, which is www.insightsts.com. Yes, there's an extra TS, and the number is 312-818-1260.
Awesome. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. And I will see you next week